what a seismic event at a time when we weren't exactly expecting seismic news. It kind of leaked a couple days earlier that he might be dropping out endorsing Trump. And then sure enough, on Friday, he did it. And then they appeared together at a Trump rally. And I want to start with that moment when he walked out with Trump. Debbie Murphy, who's been my editorial producer since 2007. We've been together a long time. I liken her to Holly Hunter from Broadcast News. She just doesn't live, eat, sleep, or breathe unless there's news related to it. She saw this walkout with RFK and she said, this was so amazing. It was a great TV moment. It's perfectly produced. She then contrasted it to the sad Ron DeSantis audio announcement of his campaign where he has the beautiful family and he missed the chance to show off. Anyway, but look at this moment between Trump and RFK. Fire all over the stage.
Man, whoa.
Wow. Trump later said he had never seen applause like that for someone other than himself. And it was produced, not surprisingly, by our friends at Turning Point. That's the Charlie Kirk group, which does know how to do pageantry, and pageantry is helpful in presidential politics. Victor, what do you think of it?
It's pretty amazing. I know the conventional wisdom says that in a close election that 40,000 votes in 2020 made a difference. He can make a difference. That's all true. But I think it's more insidious for the Democrats for a variety of other reasons. I think when he comes out like this, he's a very articulate spokesman, and he frames a question in a way that Trump doesn't, maybe even that J.D. Vance doesn't. When he recites the litany of what the DNC is doing, sabotage, trying to get him off the ballot with suits, but putting spies into his campaign, that gets people very angry. And the more that he repeats that and expands on it, the more it feeds into the Kamala Harris narrative that she won't meet with the press and that the press and the media and the DNC are fused. The other thing is it's going to encourage other people. Jill Stein came out, not that these people have a lot of constituents, but she said they were doing the same thing to her. And even Cornel West, who despises Trump, he has been criticizing as much the DNC. So it's kind of he broke the ice, and all of a sudden people are coming out and citing all the things the DNC is doing. And we remember the Beyonce con, all of that stuff kind of force multiplies into a narrative that these people will do anything. And that helps. The other thing is it makes it for some independents that are left wing and don't like what Harris is doing or Biden, the idea of voting for Trump, if you talk to them, it's just beyond the pale. But when he comes out and says that he will do it, that will add some that I don't think are picked up in the polls. The other thing is that everybody says, well, Trump can't ever put him in an administration because he's too volatile or way out there. But there are certain areas in which they are in absolute agreement with not only Trump, he's in absolute agreement with the MAGA movement. So the perfect job for him, Megyn, would be to be the head of the national broadcasting company, PBS and NPR. If they put him in that would be wonderful, because he's a free speech advocate, and he knows what they have done to him, and he knows how to correct it, and he would have the full support of all the MAGA people. So there's a lot of lines to this argument that I think they're going to increase. Even Phillips, the congressman that ran, he said the other day that he might have an announcement that he would be willing to serve in either administration.
That would be amazing. And RFKJ is saying, you just wait until you see the team that Trump is putting together right now. Had many people speculating who will be on it. Could it be Tulsi Gabbard? I mean, she's definitely, I think, going to vote for Trump. So it'd be all these sort of favorites who are almost politically homeless right now, but open-minded to Trump's messaging, of course, because as you know, he is not some far-right guy. Trump's actually more moderate in a lot of his politics than, let's say Ted Cruz is. And this would be very attractive to said people if they could just check their Trump derangement syndrome. The media would see that and would see it coming. I want to play a little bit more and talk a little bit more about this because I do think this has the potential to be a true game changer in this. When RFK stood up on Friday and announced, why he was leaving, one of the things he did was eviscerate the media, the Democrats and the media, which, as you point out now, all of the Democrats trying to run, from Dean Phillips, I mean, he's already been complaining, but to Jill Stein and Cornel West, all of them are putting the lie to the Democrats' talking point about them being the party of democracy. They are the ones who will protect and hold inviolate your vote. Here's a little bit of that on Friday, saw two.
In the name of saving democracy, the Democratic Party set itself to dismantling it. Lacking confidence in its candidate, the DNC waged continual legal warfare against both President Trump and myself. It deployed DNC-aligned judges to throw me and other candidates off the ballot and to throw President Trump in jail. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate. My uncle and my father both relish debate. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters. This is profoundly undemocratic. Instead of showing us her substance and character, the DNC and its media organs engineered a surge of popularity for Vice President Harris based upon, well, nothing.
Based upon nothing. He's got it, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, he right there, he outlined in just a few minutes or seconds even the entire indictment of the Democratic Party in a way that other people haven't. And so he's kind of serving the role of J.D. Vance. Everybody attacked J.D. Vance, and the more you see him go on the media and battle with him, or even a Tom Cotton, he's in that category. And they don't just repeat talking points. They try to analyze. And when they do that, it really shows the poverty of the entire Democratic Party. We haven't even emphasized one of the cruelest things they did I was watching MSNBC and CNN and Fox when they were interviewing a lot of people at the DNC, and they were trying to trace down these traffic rumors and beyonds. And all of these people were really sincere. They really believed it. And they said, we're going to stay here and she's going to be the finale after Harris. And either they deliberately planted that, or somebody planted it and they found it useful, but that was just representative or illustrative of that entire DNC attitude, that from the trivial to the existential, they'll do anything to win. And it's all predicated on the idea that Donald Trump supposedly represents this existential threat, and then therefore that end of getting rid of him justifies any means necessary. And I think that's what Kennedy and Vance are trying to explain to the American people. I think they're going to be pretty effective. Especially it feeds into this, as I said earlier, this illusion that she's ever going to go out and talk to people. She's not, because they know that in 1 minute she could destroy the entire campaign. It reminds me of a famous anecdote, Megyn, about World War I and the Battle of Jutland. They said that Admiral Jellicoe was the only man in the British Navy who could lose the war in a minute, and if he got the home fleet destroyed. And that's kind of what she is. She's got the ability to go out there and do a word salad that would confirm every stereotype of her, and they know that. And so they're going to keep her. And the longer they keep her hidden, the more anxious she's going to be, and the more worried, and it's just going to be a doom loop. So they should get it over with early in the campaign and get her out there, but they're not going to do that.
It's actually really interesting now, Victor, because Trump is blanketing the field with alternative media. He sat down with Theo Vaughn last week. We're going to play some of that. It's interesting. Very different kind of exchange for Trump, and it was good. And then this week, he sat down with Sean Ryan, who we love. He was on our Memorial Day podcast, former Navy SEAL, very interesting, thoughtful, great guy. And J.D. Vance is all over the mainstream media, doing battle with NBC and CBS and CNN and you name it. So it's actually a very clever strategy. And what seems to be happening lately is her absence is no longer really helping her. Like, yes, I realize she's not articulate, but they've got the whole field available to them. They're dominating the media again now that the DNC is over. You know, the headline everywhere on Friday was RFKJ, and it's been that way all over the entire weekend. And I think they're soon going to realize silence may not be the best option for them. They're going to go only with friendly interviewers, but they can't have 2 months with Trump and J.D. Vance owning every single headline while she just stays behind closed doors or does her teleprompter speeches. Did you know that there is nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds yet to be spent? That's right. There's a massive amount of money that the lame duck administration is pushing hard to spend in their last few months. If the president is able to push these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that the first one had on many, many Americans. Still having on many, many Americans. But there's hope. A surge in prices can be beaten. You see, a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge for your savings in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting MK to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax-advantaged status. Don't wait for the president's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future right now. Text MK to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.